United States Navy has unveiled a major evolution in submarine warfare that could reshape global naval power. Refined over decades, the Virginia-class program introduces capabilities that extend far beyond traditional attack submarines. With Block 6 variants integrating hypersonic strike weapons, the Virginia Payload Module dramatically expanding missile capacity, and emerging seabed warfare systems enabling covert operations along the ocean floor, these submarines redefine stealth and lethality. How did the Navy achieve such breakthroughs while controlling costs? And why does the Virginia class represent a decisive shift in undersea dominance for the 21st century? Join us as we examine America's Virginia-class submarine fleet that has redefined underwater dominance for the 21st century. For decades, the United States Navy has pursued nuclear-powered attack submarines as the cornerstone of its undersea warfare strategy. Lacking a peer competitor following the collapse of the Soviet Union, Washington initially focused on developing submarine optimized for littoral operations and special forces insertion in regional conflicts against technologically inferior adversaries. By 2025, the Navy possessed 26 commissioned Virginia-class submarines with another 16 under construction or awaiting delivery, representing the largest and most diverse modern attack submarine fleet in the world. These weapons serve multiple purposes simultaneously. They deterred Chinese military expansion in the Indo-Pacific, maintained surveillance on Russian submarine activity in the Arctic and North Atlantic, demonstrated technological superiority to allied nations, and provided the United States with credible capability to impose costs on adversaries in any future conflict. However, traditional Los Angeles-class submarines that formed the backbone of American undersea power for 4 decades possess significant limitations that concern Navy planners. These submarines, first commissioned in 1976, operated with technologies from the Cold War era that could no longer guarantee acoustic superiority against advanced Russian and Chinese submarines. The Los Angeles-class boats generated acoustic signatures that modern sonar systems could detect and track at increasingly longer ranges. Their weapons capacity remained limited to 12 vertical launch system tubes and 4 torpedo tubes, insufficient for the multi-mission requirements of 21st century naval warfare. The sensor suites aboard Los Angeles-class submarines, while revolutionary when first deployed, lack the processing power and detection ranges necessary to identify quiet diesel-electric submarines operating in cluttered littoral environments. These limitations created an environment in which simply maintaining numerical superiority in submarine hulls no longer guaranteed underwater dominance against technologically advancing adversaries. The answer to this operational challenge came in the form of the Virginia-class program. Unlike previous attack submarines designed primarily for anti-submarine warfare against Soviet strategic missile submarines, Virginia-class boats were engineered to excel across multiple mission sets. These submarines travel at velocities exceeding 25 knots while submerged, powered by S-9G nuclear reactors that generate 30 megawatts of electrical power, sufficient to propel the submarine for its entire 33-year service life without refueling. The extreme quieting achieved through pump jet propulsion, anechoic hull coatings, and advanced vibration isolation systems creates acoustic signatures that conventional sonar systems struggle to detect at operationally significant ranges. The compressed decision cycles enabled by advanced combat systems allow Virginia-class crews to detect, classify, and engage threats before adversary submarines achieve firing solutions, creating asymmetric advantages that conventional diesel-electric submarines cannot overcome despite their quiet operations while running on batteries. More importantly, Virginia-class submarines incorporate modular design philosophies that allow continuous technological advancement through successive production blocks without requiring entirely new submarine classes. Traditional submarine construction required decades-long design and development cycles that locked in technologies at the moment construction began, ensuring submarines entered service with systems already approaching obsolescence. The Virginia program, by contrast, implements block upgrades that introduce revolutionary capabilities every few years. Block 3 submarines feature large aperture bow sonar arrays with water-backed spherical arrays providing dramatically improved detection ranges and target classification capabilities compared to earlier air-backed arrays. This advancement renders conventional attempts at acoustic quieting less effective, as the advanced signal processing algorithms can detect even heavily silenced submarines at tactically significant distances. The Navy's first entry into hypersonic-capable submarine operations will come with the Block 5 and Block 6 variants incorporating the conventional prompt strike system. Admiral David Goggins, Program Executive Officer for Submarines, described the Block 6 configuration as a major generational leap in American submarine technology. The design integrates the Virginia Payload Module, an 84-foot mid-body hull extension containing 4 large-diameter vertical launch tubes capable of deploying 7 Tomahawk cruise missiles per tube, increasing total strike capacity from 12 to 40 missiles per submarine. This configuration allows Virginia-class submarines to achieve strike capabilities approaching those of Ohio-class guided missile submarines while maintaining the acoustic stealth and multi-mission flexibility that Ohio-class conversions sacrificed. Beyond conventional Tomahawk missiles, the Virginia Payload Module enables deployment of the conventional prompt strike hypersonic weapon system. This weapon consists of a large rocket booster carrying the common hypersonic glide body in a protective nose cone. Once the booster reaches significant altitude and velocity, it releases the glide body, which achieves sustained hypersonic speeds, exceeding Mach 5 as it descends toward its target. The missile features a range approaching 2,000 nautical miles, sufficient to strike targets deep within adversary territory from submarines operating in international waters hundreds of miles offshore. More significantly for Chinese and Russian defense planners, the design represents the first successful integration of submarine-launched hypersonic weapons with nuclear-powered attack submarines, a technological achievement that fundamentally alters strategic calculations about American power projection capabilities. The Block 6's appearance triggered significant concern among Chinese and Russian defense officials. Chinese analysts acknowledged that the combination of submarine stealth with hypersonic strike capability exceeded the defensive capabilities of their coastal air defense systems and anti-submarine warfare forces. These systems, among the most extensive in the world, were optimized to defend against cruise missile attacks and conventional ballistic missile strikes launched from surface ships and aircraft. But underwater-launched hypersonic weapons combining the stealth of submarine deployment with the speed and maneuverability of hypersonic glide vehicles presented unprecedented technical challenges. The weapon's trajectory from submerged launch to hypersonic flight reduced warning time from minutes to seconds. The unpredictable launch location of submarines operating covertly in international waters complicated defensive planning and required defensive coverage across thousands of miles of coastline. The maneuverability of hypersonic glide vehicles during terminal approach defeated conventional air defense intercept calculations. For the first time, Chinese military planners acknowledged that no existing coastal defense system could guarantee protection against submarine-launched hypersonic strikes. The Navy moved rapidly to leverage this technological breakthrough into more advanced operational concepts. In December 2025, the United States delivered the USS Idaho, the 26th Virginia-class submarine, and 8th Block 4 variant, marking sustained production momentum despite industrial-based challenges. Navy officials indicated that Block 5 submarines would begin commissioning in the late 2020s, with Block 6 variants following in the mid-2030s. The fiscal year 2026 budget allocated $11 billion for procurement of 2 Block 6 submarines, the USS Potomac and USS Norfolk, indicating sustained commitment to expanding Virginia-class capabilities despite escalating costs and production delays. The Block 6 configuration provides the first real-world implementation of organic seabed warfare capabilities integrated into attack submarines. According to multiple defense industry sources, these capabilities involve specialized sonar systems optimized for close-range navigation along the ocean floor, enhanced hull coatings and ballast control systems enabling sustained operations at crushed depths approaching 1,600 feet, and deployment systems for unmanned underwater vehicles designed for mine countermeasures and infrastructure surveillance. The submarines incorporate bow-conformal sonar arrays providing 360-degree acoustic coverage superior to traditional bow-mounted spherical arrays, enabling detection of threats approaching from any angle, including directly below the submarine. These features indicate that the Navy views the seabed not merely as navigable terrain, but as a contested operational domain requiring persistent presence and active control during peacetime and conflict. Notably, Navy sources indicated that full Block 6 capabilities had not been publicly disclosed. Senior defense officials suggested that classification of advanced seabed warfare systems reflected strategic calculations about operational security and technological advantage rather than limitations on American capabilities. In January 2026, a Congressional Research Service report noted that at least one Block 6 submarine would serve as a specialized seabed warfare variant specifically designed for undersea espionage and special operations support, eventually replacing the heavily modified Seawolf-class submarine USS Jimmy Carter as the Navy's premier covert operations platform. This designation suggested that Navy leadership viewed specialized submarine capabilities as critical enablers of intelligence operations and strategic competition, rather than as conventional warfighting tools to be employed in early conflict phases. The Virginia-class program also accelerated development of unmanned underwater vehicle integration, with Block 6 submarines incorporating launch and recovery systems for platforms like Raytheon's Barracuda drone. This autonomous system uses fiber optic cables to maintain continuous communication with the submarine while operating at extended ranges, enabling mine detection, identification, and neutralization without exposing the submarine to countermine threats. The drone translates acoustic data gathered by submarine sonar systems into radio frequency signals that surface gateway systems can relay to aircraft, surface ships, and land-based command centers, creating networked warfare capabilities that transform submarines from isolated hunters into nodes within integrated kill chains spanning air, surface, subsurface, and space domains. The speed of American advancement in submarine technology triggered extensive analysis regarding industrial-based sustainment. Navy and congressional officials pointed towards severe production constraints, limiting construction despite surging demand. The United States operated 2 submarine yards, General Dynamics Electric Boat in Groton, Connecticut, and Huntington Ingalls Industries, Newport News Shipbuilding in Virginia, together producing 1.2 submarines annually against requirements for 2 yearly. The yards faced workforce shortages, supply chain disruptions affecting components like reactor vessel forgings, and cost overruns exceeding $17 billion. Construction timelines stretched to 9 years per submarine, requiring 9 million labor hours and components from over 4,000 suppliers. The technical challenges involved in constructing nuclear-powered submarines are formidable, and only 7 countries possess independent manufacturing capacity. Western analysts noted that Virginia-class submarines must incorporate HY-100 steel-withstanding crush depths exceeding 800 feet, reactor cores using highly enriched uranium requiring specialized security protocols, and anechoic coating systems composed of thousands of precisely engineered tiles. The combat systems require extraordinary integration, coordinating dozens of sensors, where minor software errors cascade into critical failures. The nuclear reactors must operate flawlessly for 3 decades without refueling, as reactor defects necessitate costly midlife refueling only specialized facilities can perform. Manufacturing such complex systems requires industrial infrastructure, skilled workforce pipelines, quality control processes, and technical expertise most nations cannot develop within strategically relevant timeframes. The strategic implications of Virginia-class capabilities extend far beyond the Indo-Pacific. The Navy declared Virginia-class submarines would operate globally, with boats homeported in Guam, Hawaii, and the continental United States maintaining presence across the Pacific, Atlantic, and Mediterranean. Navy officials asserted Virginia-class submarines could reach any ocean point within weeks, creating persistent uncertainty about American submarine locations and intentions. The development of attack submarines with hypersonic strike characteristics transformed American military posture from reactive defense into proactive deterrence, backed by credible strike capabilities. Navy officials stated the United States was pursuing advanced submarine technologies maintaining undersea superiority through 2060 and beyond, when competitors like China might achieve numerical parity. The technical pathway towards sustaining American submarine advantages lay partially through the AUKUS partnership with Australia and the United Kingdom. The trilateral agreement announced in September 2021 committed the United States to selling 3 to 5 Virginia-class submarines to Australia in the early 2030s, with potential for additional sales if required. This unprecedented technology transfer marked the first time the United States agreed to provide complete nuclear-powered submarines to a partner nation. The agreement required congressional approval through the fiscal year 2024 National Defense Authorization Act, which authorized submarine sales and established frameworks for sharing naval nuclear propulsion information previously restricted to the United Kingdom. American officials indicated that AUKUS would strengthen the submarine industrial base by increasing production rates, spreading costs across partner nations, and creating interoperable submarine forces capable of coordinated operations across the Indo-Pacific region. The combination of Virginia-class capabilities and the shift toward distributed maritime operations created unprecedented opportunities for American strategic planning. The United States had invested decades and hundreds of billions of dollars developing undersea warfare capabilities designed to maintain acoustic superiority against Soviet and Russian submarines. The Virginia-class program, optimized against quiet diesel-electric submarines operating in shallow waters, fundamentally challenged the assumptions upon which Russian and Chinese anti-submarine warfare capabilities rested. Chinese anti-submarine warfare forces, despite massive investment in surface ships, maritime patrol aircraft, and fixed sonar arrays, struggled to detect Virginia-class submarines operating in the South China Sea and Western Pacific. Russian anti-submarine capabilities, degraded by decades of underinvestment following the Soviet collapse, proved inadequate to track Virginia-class boats transiting Arctic waters or approaching Russian submarine bastions in the Sea of Okhotsk. More fundamentally, the Pentagon faced strategic opportunities expanding Virginia-class production despite industrial constraints. Navy officials emphasized requirements for 66 attack submarines to meet global demands. The gap between requirements and inventory created pressure for accelerated production despite workforce limitations. Pentagon plans called for sustaining 2 submarine production annually through the 2030s while simultaneously constructing Columbia-class ballistic missile submarines. Production facilities manufactured submarines on 9-year timelines, creating backlogs extending years into the future, with delivery schedules slipping due to material shortages. Navy officials responded to production challenges by investing in the submarine industrial base. The fiscal year 2026 budget included $130 million for workforce development, supplier expansion, and infrastructure modernization. Following the April 2025 contract award for 2 Block 5 submarines totaling $18.5 billion, the Navy launched initiatives stabilizing critical suppliers experiencing financial distress. These efforts included advance payments, economic order quantity purchases, and direct investments in supplier facilities to increase capacity. By January 2026, Virginia-class submarines operated across global theaters, demonstrating American undersea reach. The USS Minnesota operated from Guam, providing persistent Western Pacific presence. The USS Montana deployed from Pearl Harbor, conducting Central Pacific surveillance. Multiple boats operated from East Coast bases, supporting Mediterranean, North Atlantic, and Arctic operations where Russian submarine activity increased following Ukraine's invasion. These deployments demonstrated capability to maintain global submarine presence despite force structure constraints, creating strategic uncertainty for adversaries unable to predict American submarine locations or missions. The diplomatic and political dimensions of Virginia-class deployment added complexity to strategic calculations. Throughout 2025, Chinese officials issued warnings against American submarine operations near Chinese territorial waters, arguing that surveillance activities violated international law. These protests acknowledged that American submarines operated with impunity in areas China claimed as exclusive economic zones. Chinese military officials warned that submarine incursions near Taiwan or South China Sea facilities could trigger defensive responses. Russian officials issued similar warnings regarding Arctic and Baltic operations. Admiral Lisa Franchetti, Chief of Naval Operations, emphasized maintaining submarine readiness while avoiding miscalculation. These postures served multiple purposes: signaling resolve domestically, warning adversaries of engagement costs, and telegraphing deterrent messages about American capabilities. They reflected assessments that advanced submarine capabilities had substantially altered the military balance, reducing adversary anti-access capabilities and increasing American freedom of action. Looking forward, continued Virginia-class production, development of advanced block variants with hypersonic weapons and seabed warfare capabilities, and expansion of operations across global maritime domains suggest American undersea superiority will persist through mid-century despite peer competition. Whether American industrial capacity proves sufficient to sustain required production rates, whether technological advantages endure as adversaries develop countermeasures, or whether budget constraints force difficult choices remains uncertain. What is certain is that the Virginia-class program has transformed American naval power and created capabilities ensuring United States influence in undersea warfare will shape great power competition for decades. The Block 6 Virginia-class submarines represent more than incremental improvements. They embody a fundamental reconceptualization of what attack submarines can accomplish in modern warfare. The integration of hypersonic strike weapons transforms submarines from defensive platforms into offensive strategic systems capable of holding land targets at risk from positions of nearly perfect concealment. The seabed warfare capabilities enable intelligence collection missions that previously required dedicated special operations submarines, democratizing advanced capabilities across the submarine force. The unmanned vehicle integration creates force multiplication effects by extending sensor ranges and enabling distributed operations that complicate adversary defense planning. The stealth characteristics deserve particular emphasis. Anechoic coding systems absorb sonar waves across broad frequency ranges, reducing acoustic signatures by 70% compared to Los Angeles-class predecessors. The pump jet propulsion eliminates blade rate tones that conventional propellers generate, making Virginia-class boats virtually undetectable to passive sonar. The reactor plant mounts on isolation systems, preventing vibrations from transmitting through the hull. The teardrop hull optimizes hydrodynamic efficiency, reducing flow noise. These measures produce submarines that Chinese and Russian forces struggle to detect even in areas under intense surveillance. The sensor capabilities provide decisive advantages. The AN/BQQ-10 acoustic suite combines bow, flank, and towed arrays into comprehensive detection coverage. The large aperture bow array uses thousands of hydrophones in waterback configurations, dramatically improving sensitivity over earlier air-backed arrays. Advanced signal processing detects quiet submarines at tactically significant ranges by identifying subtle anomalies in ambient ocean noise. The combat system integrates sensor inputs into unified tactical pictures commanders can interpret within seconds, using artificial intelligence to classify contacts, predict movements, and recommend engagement solutions. The Virginia-class program represents American commitment to maintaining undersea superiority through sustained investment and technological innovation. The program costs exceed $3 billion per submarine, but delivers capabilities that no other platform can replicate. The submarines enable intelligence collection against facilities satellites cannot observe, provide strike options against defended targets that aircraft and surface ships cannot safely approach, and create strategic uncertainty, forcing adversaries to defend vast ocean areas against threats they cannot reliably detect. They demonstrate American technological sophistication in ways that shape adversary perceptions and deter aggression through visible capability rather than explicit threats. As global naval competition intensifies, the Virginia-class stands as the silent guardian ensuring American undersea dominance through the middle of the 21st century and beyond. Fast, quiet, and loaded with powerful new weapons, America's latest nuclear submarine is one of the most advanced machines ever built for war. Every part of it shows years of research and smart design, bringing together stealth, long-range travel, and high-tech systems in one powerful underwater vessel. Built to lead on the battlefield, this submarine can move faster, dodge threats, and strike with precision, making it a serious challenge for any enemy beneath the sea. But what makes it so different from older submarines? And how could it change the balance of power around the world, especially now that control of the oceans is more important than ever? Join us as we explore how this new American submarine works, what it can do, and why it's making waves in global defense. For over 40 years, America's nuclear-powered stealth submarines have quietly protected the nation by patrolling oceans across the globe. But now, a new generation is needed. The United States Navy has been working to replace the aging fleet, but building these advanced submarines has a heavy price tag. The project cost at least $130 billion, and it will likely go even higher before it's complete. That might sound like a huge amount, and it is. To put it into perspective, that's more than the entire yearly budget of many countries. America's nuclear weapons are delivered in three main ways: missiles launched from underground silos across the country, bombs dropped from military planes, and warheads fired from stealth submarines deep under the ocean. Together, these three make up what defense experts call the nuclear triad. And out of all three parts, the submarines are considered the most important. Why are they considered important? Because they are the hardest to detect, even harder to destroy, and they carry enough nuclear weapons to wipe out an entire city. They are basically mobile, hidden missile launchers that can stay underwater for several months, always ready to strike if needed. But there is a problem. The submarines currently in use, the Ohio class, are old. They were designed back in the 1960s and 70s, and they first entered service in 1981. As any military analyst can imagine, keeping them in working condition is becoming more expensive every year. To fix that, the Navy planned to roll out a new class of submarines called the Columbia class. These would be smarter, more advanced, and more reliable. The goal was to build 12 submarines at around $9 billion each, with the first one ready by 2027. Construction on the first Columbia-class submarine began on October 1st, 2020. It won't be ready for service until 2031, over 10 years from start to finish, showing just how complicated these machines are to build. On June 3, 2022, the Navy announced the first submarine would be named the USS District of Columbia with hull number SSBN 826. They chose this name to avoid mix-ups with the USS Columbia, which is a different type of submarine already in use. The new Columbia-class submarines were designed by Electric Boat with support from Newport News Shipbuilding, two of the biggest names in American naval construction. The original plan was to build 12 submarines in total, and work on the first one began in 2021. Each submarine will carry 16 missile tubes, and each will launch a powerful nuclear missile known as the Trident II-D5 life extension missile. That is the same type of long-range missile used on today's Ohio-class submarines. From the 9th submarine onward, the Navy plans to upgrade the weapons to a newer version called the Trident II-D5 life extension 2. These submarines are truly enormous. Each one will measure around 560 feet long, about the length of 1.5 football fields, and 43 feet wide. This is the exact length of the older Ohio-class submarines, but the Columbia-class will be about 1 foot wider. That extra space may seem small, but it gives engineers more room to install modern systems, upgraded technology, and improved living quarters for the crew. The planners had to run detailed calculations before deciding how many of these submarines to build. They needed to figure out how many nuclear missiles should be at sea and ready to go at any given time. Then they looked at how many each submarine could carry and how likely each vessel could stay hidden from enemies while remaining ready to launch if necessary. Another key factor was maintenance. Submarines regularly need time in port for repairs and servicing, so the Navy had to consider how many submarines would be offline at any moment. This helped determine the total number needed to ensure the United States nuclear weapons are effective and reliable at all times. To keep costs down, the Navy explored different design options. One idea was to add missile tubes to the existing Virginia-class attack submarines. Another was to update the current Ohio-class design and keep building those. The third option was to create a brand new submarine design from scratch. In the end, the Navy decided that building an entirely new design was the most cost-effective way to meet all the technical needs. It might sound strange, but starting fresh turned out to be cheaper in the long run. Here's one example. The other two options, upgrading older submarines, would have required midlife refueling, which is a long, expensive process. However, the Columbia-class submarines come with a major advantage. Each one is built with a nuclear reactor that lasts the entire life of the submarine. That means no refueling is needed, and the submarine can stay in service without having to be taken apart midway through its lifespan. To keep everything on track, the Navy completed a detailed design plan in April 2014. It was a massive 300-page report that listed 159 technical requirements. These included everything from weapons and emergency escape routes to seawater systems, doors, hatches, and internal piping. One key decision in the design was the length, 560 feet. This size allows enough space inside the pressure hull to fit all the complex systems the submarine needs to operate for decades deep under the sea. On the 28th of July, 2016, it was announced that the first submarine in the new Columbia class would be named Columbia to honor the District of Columbia. A few months later, on the 14th of December, 2016, the Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus, officially confirmed the name of the class. Then on the 28th of October, 2020, Navy Secretary Kenneth J. Braithwaite revealed the name of the second submarine in the class. It will be called the USS Wisconsin, named after the U.S. state of Wisconsin. Its hull number is SSBN 827. Two major challenges stand in the way of this massive project: keeping the supply chain running smoothly and having enough skilled workers to build these highly advanced submarines. With so many specialized parts and jobs involved, even a small delay in one area can affect the entire schedule. The new Columbia-class submarines, also known by their earlier name, SSBNX, are still in development. Still, the Navy has already outlined several key features that will define these next-generation vessels. Each submarine is designed to serve for an impressive 42 years, during which it will complete about 124 nuclear deterrent patrols. One of the most important upgrades over the older Ohio-class submarines is the nuclear fuel core. While Ohio-class submarines require complex and expensive midlife refueling, the Columbia-class will be powered by a nuclear core designed to last the entire service life of the submarine, saving both time and money. The new submarines will carry 16 missile launch tubes, which is fewer than the 24 found on the older Ohio-class. However, each tube will be the same size with a diameter of 87 inches, large enough to hold a Trident 2D5 missile, the main long-range nuclear weapon used by the United States Navy. Despite having fewer tubes, the Columbia-class maintains the same powerful strike capability with more modern and efficient systems. In other words, the new submarines will have a similar shape and size, but will be packed with more efficient technology and upgraded systems to meet modern needs. According to the United States Navy, the Columbia-class must be built with the most advanced stealth and survivability features available. These submarines are expected to remain hidden and mission-ready for their full 40-year lifespan, ensuring they stay relevant and undetectable in an increasingly competitive global environment. In November 2012, the United States Naval Institute shared new details about the design of the upcoming Columbia-class submarines, using information from the Naval Sea Systems Command. One standout feature is the use of X-shaped control fins, called hydroplanes, at the back of the submarine. These fins help the submarine move smoothly and stay stable underwater. The X shape makes the submarine easier to steer and helps keep it quieter while submerged, an important advantage for staying hidden. Another change in the Columbia-class submarines is the position of the dive planes, which are like the wings that help the submarine move up and down underwater. On older submarines, these dive planes were placed on the sides of the main body or hull, similar to how airplane wings are attached to the sides of the fuselage. But in the Columbia-class, the dive planes are mounted on the sail, which is the vertical tower that sticks up from the top of the submarine. It's like putting the steering fins on top instead of the sides. This new position gives the crew better control, especially when the submarine is moving slowly or rising near the surface, kind of like how moving the rudder on a boat helps it turn more smoothly in shallow waters. One of the most important upgrades in the Columbia-class submarines is the switch to an electric drive system. In older submarines, the nuclear reactor worked a bit like a car engine. It used gears to turn the propeller directly, creating noise that could be picked up by enemy sonar. But in the Columbia-class, that setup has been replaced. Instead, the reactor heats water into steam, which then generates electricity, much like how a power plant works. That electricity runs a motor that quietly turns the propeller. It's similar to how modern electric cars use battery power to drive the wheels without making much noise. For a submarine that needs to stay hidden deep underwater, being quiet is one of its greatest strengths, and this new system helps it do just that. To cut down on costs and speed up production, the Navy is also using proven technology from earlier submarine programs, especially from the Virginia-class fast attack submarines. For example, the Columbia-class will use a pump jet propulsor, which is a quieter and more efficient way of moving through water compared to traditional propellers. It will also be coated with a special anechoic layer, a rubber-like material on the outside of the hull that absorbs sound and makes it harder for enemy sonar to detect the submarine. In addition, the large aperture bow sonar system will be included, allowing the submarine to detect other ships and submarines from far away. Additionally, the Columbia-class may feature an advanced combat system called the Submarine Warfare Federated Tactical System. This is a collection of integrated tools and systems that combine sonar, optical imaging, and weapons control into a single network, allowing the crew to make faster, smarter decisions during missions. To reduce long-term costs and make the submarine much quieter, the Columbia-class will use a fully electric drive system. In older submarines, power from the nuclear reactor would go through a series of heavy gears and shafts, like how a bicycle chain connects the pedals to the wheels to spin the propeller. But in the Columbia-class, that mechanical setup is replaced with an electric motor, similar to what you'd find in a modern electric car. Instead of making noise through turning parts, the motor runs quietly using electricity. This makes the submarine much harder to detect underwater, which is exactly what any nanny would want when they are trying to stay hidden from enemy forces. The submarine will still be powered by a nuclear reactor, just like other submarines in the United States Navy. Here's how it works in simple terms. The nuclear reactor heats water and turns it into steam. That steam powers turbines, which create mechanical energy. Then generators take that mechanical energy and turn it into electricity. That electricity will run the submarine's propulsion motors, as well as power other systems on board. Everything from computers to life support. This technology, known as turbo-electric drive, is not entirely new. It was successfully used in United States battleships and aircraft carriers during the early part of the 20th century, and even in a small nuclear-powered submarine called the USS Tullabee in the 1950s. Later, a larger submarine named the USS Leonard P. Lipscomb was also built with this type of system. But in that case, the system had problems. It was underpowered, hard to maintain, and not very reliable. Engineers have come a long way since then, and the electric drive in the Columbia-class will use modern technology to avoid those issues. As of 2013, the only submarines in the world using turbo-electric systems were the Triomphant-class submarines in the French Navy. In 2024, the defense contractor Northrop Grumman was selected to design and manufacture the turbine generator units for the Columbia-class submarines. In 2014, a company called Leonardo DRS was chosen to supply the main propulsion motor and the system that powers it for the new Columbia-class submarines. This is the heart of the submarine's electric drive system, the part that turns electric energy into motion. The motor for the first submarine in the class was delivered to Electric Boat in August 2022. Electric motors are becoming more important in both military and civilian ships because they are more efficient, quieter, and easier to maintain than older mechanical systems. The United States Navy is now looking into advanced types of electric motors for its future submarines. One type being developed by General Dynamics and Newport News Shipbuilding is called the permanent magnet motor. These motors use powerful magnets to create rotation instead of relying on bulky mechanical parts. This design makes them smaller, quieter, and more energy efficient than traditional motors, which makes them perfect for submarines that need to move silently and stay hidden underwater. American superconductors and General Atomics are developing a new kind of electric motor called a high-temperature superconducting synchronous motor. This may sound complicated, but here's what it means. They use special materials that can carry electricity with almost no energy loss. Think of it as water flowing through a pipe with no leaks. This allows the motor to be very powerful while staying small and compact, which is great for use inside a submarine where space is limited. Interestingly, other countries are already using this kind of motor in their submarines. For example, the German and Italian navies use Siemens permanent magnet motors in their Type 212 submarines. The United States has also tested this technology. In 2013, engineers tried out permanent magnet motors on a test submarine called the Large-Scale Vehicle 2. It was like a prototype, used to see if these motors could work well in future submarines like the Virginia class or even newer designs. The Royal Navy's upcoming Dreadnought-class submarines, which will replace the current Vanguard-class ballistic missile submarines, may feature a shaftless drive system, a new type of electric propulsion that could change how submarines move through the water. Now let's compare the Columbia-class submarine from the United States with the nuclear submarines used by China and Russia, two other major nuclear powers. Today, China's main nuclear missile submarine is the Type 094, also known as the Jin class. China's second-generation ballistic missile submarine is designed to carry 12 JL-2 nuclear missiles. These missiles have a shorter range than America's Trident missiles, which means Chinese submarines have to sail much closer to their targets before launching an attack. The Type 094 is noisier than submarines built by Western countries, making it easier for enemy sonar to detect. This limits how well it can stay hidden during underwater patrols. China is currently working on a Type 096 submarine that is expected to be quieter and carry the newer JL-3 missiles, but that submarine is still under development. Russia's most modern nuclear missile submarine is the Beret class, also known as Project 955. These submarines carry 16 Bulava missiles, each capable of carrying multiple nuclear warheads. The Beret class is quieter and more advanced than Russia's older submarines and shows a major improvement in technology. Compared to the Columbia class, the Beret class is slightly smaller in size but still very capable. However, United States submarines tend to have more advanced electronics and navigation systems, thanks to larger investments in undersea warfare technology. While China's Type 094 is still catching up, and Russia's Beret class remains a strong competitor, the Columbia class stands out for its cutting-edge long-term nuclear power and highly advanced missile systems. The United Kingdom operates 4 Vanguard-class submarines, which serve as the nation's sole nuclear deterrent. Each submarine carries Trident II D5 missiles like the U.S. Ohio and Columbia-class subs. The British submarines patrol continuously, with at least one always at sea, a policy known as continuous at-sea deterrence. However, the Vanguard-class submarines are aging, and the UK plans to replace them with the upcoming Dreadnought class. This class will feature improved stealth, a longer service life, and continued partnership with the US for missile systems. As the global race for undersea power continues, these submarines show how vital submarine strength is in today's nuclear strategy. Deep beneath the waves, a brand new US submarine waits in silent darkness, packed with cutting-edge tech designed to change the balance of power. With a single command, it can launch a deadly volley capable of reaching Russian territory in just 32 seconds. Stealthy, swift, and nearly invisible to enemy sensors, this silent underwater giant embodies America's push for unrivaled dominance beneath the sea. Today, we boldly unveil how this marvel of engineering transforms the art of naval warfare forever. Imagine you're deep underwater, the surface world miles above you, and all around is calm. That's exactly how America's newest submarines, the Virginia-class fast attack submarine, USS Iowa, operate, silent, unseen, and packing serious power. The U.S. Navy's underwater fleet is its secret ace, giving the country unmatched reach, deterrence, and strike ability wherever trouble brews. These subs aren't your old diesel boats. They're nuclear-powered, meaning they can stay down for months without needing air or fuel. While other vessels bob up every few days, these submarines slip through the depths, unheard, unseen, and ready for action. That stealth makes them perfect for both watching enemies and delivering fast, precise blows if called upon. According to the Navy's fiscal year 2026 building plan, 6 new Battle Force ships are on the way. 2 of those are Virginia-class USS Iowa, nuclear-powered fast attack submarines. These subs are the cutting edge of undersea warfare, built for speed, stealth, and heavy firepower. You can picture them as high-tech hunters of the deep, scanning for threats, gathering secret info, and, if needed, striking with missiles and torpedoes. Recently, the Navy handed General Dynamics Electric Boat an $18.5 billion contract to kick off the Virginia Block 6 series. That's a huge deal. It shows just how serious the Navy is about keeping its subs ahead of the curve. Block 6 will feature even better sensors, quieter engines, and a more advanced missile launch setup, all designed to stay one step ahead of any foe lurking beneath the waves. We've already seen these submarines at work. In Operation Midnight Hammer against Iran, a guided missile sub launched a precise strike that put key targets out of action. Moments later, there was no sign the attack had come from beneath the sea. That kind of surprise and speed sends a clear message. Don't mess with an unseen force you can't track or stop. For over 20 years, the Virginia class has been the backbone of the Navy's attack boat fleet. The story began in the 1990s under the codename Centurion. Back then, naval planners wanted a next-gen submarine that could outmatch anything the old Soviet subs could throw at it. They needed a boat fast, quiet, and packed with smart tech, one that could deter the smartest, toughest enemies. A big part of making that dream real was 3D visualization technology. For the first time ever, engineers could walk through the sub's interior on a computer before a single piece of steel was cut. Every hallway, hatch, and wiring run was laid out virtually, saving time and money on the assembly line. This digital-first approach slashed costs compared to the older, fancier Seawolf class, which had been so expensive that the Navy could only afford 3 boats. Cost matters, especially when budgets get tight. Building a Seawolf could run well over $1 billion apiece. The Virginia class, by contrast, comes in at a much friendlier price. That means more subs in the water, more crews trained, and a stronger, more flexible force ready for anything. With these new Block 6 boats on the horizon, the Navy is doubling down on undersea dominance. Silent, smart, and swift, they give America a clear advantage, and a powerful reminder that beneath the ocean's surface lies a force capable of defending the nation and its allies anywhere in the world. Budgetary constraints remain an underlying issue. Every mission begins long before the submarine slips below the waves. Thanks to its powerful arsenal, the USS Iowa brings a suite of weapons that turn the depths into a launch pad for precise, far-reaching strikes. At the core of its punch is the Tomahawk land attack missile. Loaded into the vertical launch tubes, these cruise missiles can travel hundreds of miles, weaving through hostile airspace to hit targets with pinpoint accuracy. From hardened bunkers to key bridges or underground command centers, a Tomahawk can deliver its payload without warning, and long before any surface ship can arrive. Below the keel, the submarine carries 4 torpedo tubes that handle a different kind of threat. The Mk-48 heavyweight torpedo is built to hunt both enemy submarines and surface vessels. Once fired, it races through the water at high speed, using a mix of active sonar and clever guidance to home in on its mark. Whether shadowing a hostile sub or closing in on a warship, the Mk-48 brings devastating power in a compact package. When the target is on the surface, the submarine can reach for the Harpoon anti-ship missile. Fired from those same torpedo tubes, the underwater-launched Harpoon pops free of the water before its rocket motor ignites, sending it soaring toward enemy vessels. With radar guidance and a high-explosive warhead, it can disable or sink a ship hundreds of miles away, all while the sub remains hidden below. The vertical launch system itself is a game-changer. 12 tubes sit ready to send Tomahawks skyward at a moment's notice. Because the tubes are built to handle a variety of missile types, the crew can mix and match payloads depending on the mission. A salvo of long-range strikes one day, specialized warheads for electronic jamming, or bunker busting the next. This flexibility means the USS Iowa acts like a floating missile base, able to shift roles with a few quick reloads. Beyond sheer firepower, the Iowa is outfitted for special operations. A built-in lock-in, lock-out chamber lets combat divers slip out underwater, carry out covert missions, and return without the boat ever surfacing. Whether inserting a team to sabotage a port facility or gathering critical intelligence on enemy defenses, these enhancements make the submarine a stealthy launch point for forces that tread where bigger ships cannot go. Modern naval warfare isn't just about crewed platforms. The Iowa also carries unmanned undersea vehicles that can scout ahead, map the seabed, or even deliver small payloads to distant locations. These robotic partners expand the sub's reach and keep sailors out of harm's way. Send a UUV into shallow coastal waters to survey minefields or inspect a wreck, then recover it inside the hull, all without putting human divers at risk. Every weapon system and specialized feature ties back to the same goal, giving commanders options. Need to soften enemy air defenses before a carrier strike? Launch Tomahawks to clear the skies. Suspect an adversary submarine is trailing your task force? Let loose 48,000 Quacha to flush it out? Hostile patrol boats loitering off a coastline? Harpoons can teach them a quick lesson. Quietly insert a 3-man SEAL team for a midnight raid, then fade away before sunrise. By carrying a mix of long-range missiles, torpedoes, anti-ship rockets, and support for covert teams, the USS Iowa shifts seamlessly from overt firepower to clandestine operations. Behind these capabilities stands a crew trained to run every system flawlessly. Missile technicians school themselves on the latest guidance modules for Tomahawks. Torpedo men maintain the aging Mk-48s and test new firmware to sharpen their targeting. Special ops liaisons practice lockout drills until every exit and entry becomes second nature. UUV operators learn each vehicle's quirks, how it responds to currents, how to steer it past underwater obstacles, how to bring it home through a narrow hatch. This teamwork turns complex hardware into a cohesive package where every launch, every dive lock, and every data packet matters. In an age where conflicts can flare across continents, a single submarine like the USS Iowa packs more firepower than an entire air wing. Yet it also offers the subtle touch of special ops delivery and robotic scouting. That blend of overt and covert tools makes it one of the most versatile warships ever built. Whether striking high-value targets from miles away or sneaking soldiers ashore under moonless skies, this submarine stands ready to tip the balance of power, wherever and whenever its orders arrive. Picture the massed array on a Virginia-class submarine as a high-tech crown, bristling with the tools it needs to see, hear, and talk to the world above the waves. For the first time ever, the Navy bundled every mast on these boats into one uniform package, the Universal Modular Mast, UMM. Designed by L3KEO, this smart approach means fewer unique parts, simpler upkeep, and quicker upgrades. Imagine building every room in your house with the same set of Lego blocks. This integrated system made its debut on USS Memphis, a Los Angeles-class boat, before rolling out across all Virginia-class subs. The UMM is essentially a rugged, watertight tower that rises through the surface and tucks neatly away when the submarine dives deep again. Inside that tower live all the eyes and ears of the vessel. At its simplest, the snorkel mast lets the sub breathe. While nuclear power makes this less critical than in diesel boats, it still stands ready to supply fresh air or support auxiliary systems if ever needed. Then come the photonic masts, 2 camera-based periscopes packed with high-resolution color and infrared sensors. They beam real-time, digitally enhanced views straight to the control room, giving a 360-degree panorama day or night without a long tube slicing through the hull, meaning fewer leaks and a crisper picture of the surface world. Communication masts handle the chatter and data links that keep the submarine connected to ships, shore stations, and satellites. By having 2 separate towers, the boat can juggle multiple frequencies at once, which is crucial during complex missions. On top of that, high data rate SATCOM masts, built by Raytheon, reach skyward for super-fast satellite links. One mast tackles the downlink, the other the uplink, so the crew can download massive files or send detailed reports nearly instantaneously. Think of trading in an old dial-up modem for gigabit fiber, only this one floats. A dedicated radar mast carries the ANBPS-16 surface search and navigation radar, scanning the horizon for ships, icebergs, or any other obstacles lurking above the waves. This radar eye sweeps wide arcs in seconds, feeding clear images back to the bridge. Meanwhile, the electronic warfare mast, fitted with the AN/BLQ-10 system, turns the ocean into an information warfare zone. It eavesdrops on enemy radar pings or radio traffic, analyzes signal strength and direction, and helps the crew decide whether to avoid, counter, or silently slip past potential threats. Because these masts share so many common parts and design choices, the Navy drastically cuts down on spare part headaches and can roll out new capabilities in a flash. Need to upgrade the cameras? Plug in the latest photonic unit without redesigning the entire system. Want better radar performance? Swap in an enhanced ANBPS-16 module and dive right back into service. Now imagine stepping aboard a submarine and finding something familiar in the control room. An Xbox 360 controller tucked beside the sonar screens and navigation charts. Back in 2018, the USS Colorado made headlines not just for its mission, but for being the very first submarine to swap out old-school knobs and wheels for this everyday gaming gadget. It might seem like a quirky upgrade, but there's a clever reason behind it. By using a controller millions of people already know how to handle, the Navy cut down training time and gave sailors an intuitive way to steer the ship's photonic mass. Virginia-class submarines ditched traditional glass tube periscopes in favor of high-tech photonic sensors. Instead of peering through a narrow lens from below the waves, these boats peer through high-resolution cameras, light intensification and infrared sensors, and even an infrared laser rangefinder. All of that data funnels into an electronic support measures array, giving the crew a clear picture of the world above without ever poking a hole in the sub's strong steel pressure hull. Two sets of these photonic eyes, known as ANBVS-1 masts, perch outside the hull like silent sentinels. Under the sea, they stay tucked away, safe from harm. When it's time to look around, they rise smoothly through the water, capturing live images and readings. Streams of optical fiber carry that information down into the control center, where processors translate it into crisp visuals on liquid crystal display screens. Picture sitting at a bank of vivid monitors, swiping and zooming on views of the surface as easily as you would pinch to zoom on a smartphone photo. Before photonic masts, submarines had to slot a thick steel tube through the hull to hold the periscope lenses, which limited how much weight and water pressure the hull could bear. It also meant the control room had to press right up under the sail, the tall fin on top of the sub, so the periscope could drop straight down into it. Now, with no rigid shaft tying them together, designers can tuck the control room deeper into the hull where it's safer and more comfortable. It's like moving from a cramped attic to a spacious open-plan living area. But there's a catch. The new masts look so different from old periscopes that anyone spotting them on the surface can instantly tell that's a Virginia-class sub. In a world where stealth is everything, that's not ideal. To solve this, engineers are rolling out low-profile photonics masts that borrow the familiar cylinder shape of classic periscopes. These sleeker versions hide high-tech sensors inside, blending in with other boats and keeping a Virginia-class vessel's identity under wraps. Looking even further ahead, designers are sketching out a panoramic mast that doesn't even need to spin. Dubbed the Affordable Modular Panoramic Photonics Mast, this future upgrade would give the sub a full 360-degree view of the sea surface at once, like unfolding a panorama on a smartphone. No mechanical rotation means fewer moving parts to break, less noise to worry about, and an instant, seamless sweep in all directions. All these changes add up to a submarine that isn't just quieter in the water but smarter too. By using off-the-shelf tech, like an Xbox controller, alongside custom-built sensors and cameras, the Navy stays nimble. Sailors can swap in new hardware or software updates without rewriting whole operating systems, just like installing a fresh app on a tablet. The human side of this story is just as compelling. Sailors who grew up playing video games find themselves at ease in the control room, guiding the sub's eyes with a familiar set of triggers and thumbsticks. That confidence translates into faster reactions when it counts, whether it's spotting a distant ship at dusk or zeroing in on a target with laser precision. In the grand scheme of naval power, it might seem small, swapping a classic periscope for a camera system, trading a wheel for a gaming controller. But each tweak ripples outward, boosting safety, cutting costs, and sharpening the sub's edge. In the unforgiving environment of the deep ocean, being a step, or a millisecond, ahead can mean the difference between success and disaster. And with photonic masts quietly rising above the waves, Guided by controllers that gamers around the world would recognize, the Virginia-class boats are charting a course toward the future of undersea stealth and surveillance. Quiet operation under the sea is a major advantage for any submarine, and the Virginia-class boats achieve this with a revolutionary pump jet propulsor developed by BAE Systems. Unlike traditional bladed propellers that chop through water and create noisy bubbles, the pump jet shrouds its rotor in a duct that smooths the flow. Water is drawn in and forced out in a steady, whisper-quiet stream. This design, first proven on Britain's Swiftsure-class subs, dramatically cuts down cavitation, those telltale pops and hisses that give away a submarine's position. By moving almost silently through the depths, a Virginia-class sub can slip past sonar detection and get into position without alerting anyone above or below the waves. Moving on from stealthy propulsion, these submarines depend on top-tier sonar to understand everything around them. At the core lies an open system architecture, OSA for sonar systems. Think of it like a plug-and-play setup. New hardware and software modules can be added with ease, keeping the boat's sensors fresh and powerful. Every 4 years, the Navy slots in new physical components under a technology insertion, bringing in faster processors, sleeker transducers, or more robust cabling. Every 2 years, an advanced processor build updates the software, refining signal analysis and improving target recognition. This steady upgrade cycle means the Virginia-class never falls behind on sensing technology. The main sonar heart sits in a spherical array at the bow. Early boats carried the BQQ-10 system, but starting with SSN 784, a large aperture Bow-Levy array took its place. This larger, more sensitive sphere can detect quieter or more distant contacts. Along the hull sides, a wide aperture fiber optic array uses light signals in flat panels to listen for echoes. These panels keep a constant watch on the sub's flanks, feeding clear data to the processing center without adding much weight or drag. Close-in work, navigating shallow water, slipping beneath ice sheets, or hunting down agile targets relies on high-frequency sonars. One sits in a housing under the bow, the other near the top of the sail. Their sharper ping gives high-resolution snapshots of the nearby seafloor, obstacles, or smaller vessels. For over-the-shoulder coverage, a low-cost conformal array, LCCA, wraps around each side of the sail. That array picks up sounds from above and behind the submarine, giving a full picture of activity all around. When stealth demands even greater reach, the boat tows sonar arrays behind it. A fat-line tactical towed array, known as TB-16 or TB-34, depending on the model, trails far back to detect faint noises over medium ranges. For really long-distance listening, a thinner, more delicate line, TB-29 or TB-33, extends even farther, sniffing out submarines or ships miles away. By towing these sensors, the sub ensures it can monitor activity below and beyond its own hull noise, making it far less vulnerable to surprise encounters. All these sonar systems feed into the control center through optical fiber lines and signal processors. The data appears on high-resolution screens where trained sonar operators interpret echo patterns, track contacts, and guide the sub's movements. Thanks to OSA, if a new kind of sensor becomes available, say, one that picks up ultra-low frequency sounds or processes data faster, the crew can integrate it without ripping out the entire system. That modular approach saves both time and money, and it means mission readiness stays high. Together, pump jet propulsion and advanced sonar make the Virginia-class submarines far more capable than their predecessors. They slip through the water in near silence and keep a 360-degree electronic eye on everything around them, from distant threats to hidden shoals of fish. Whether operating in the icy Arctic, crowded littoral zones, or deep ocean trenches, these boats maintain the edge in undersea detection and stealth. That combination of quiet movement and state-of-the-art sensors spells a decisive advantage. The ability to watch without being seen, to listen without revealing location, and to strike or evade with confidence. By constantly evolving through regular hardware and software upgrades, these submarines adapt to changing threats and new technologies. They stand ready to face whatever challenges the deep sea and potential adversaries might throw at them. In modern naval warfare, Maintaining that edge under the waves can prove far more important than sheer firepower. Virginia-class submarines have steadily evolved from straightforward attack boats into versatile undersea platforms, thanks in large part to clever tweaks in their missile launch systems. Early models relied on a dozen vertical tubes, each dedicated to firing a single Tomahawk cruise missile. That setup got the job done, but left little room for flexibility when new mission needs arose. Block 3 changed that by swapping those 12 single-purpose tubes for just 2 multi-purpose Virginia Payload tubes VPTs. Each VPT can hold multiple missiles or other payloads, so crews no longer have to commit all their launchers to a single weapon type. In effect, the submarine becomes a Swiss Army knife of undersea warfare, ready to switch from long-range strikes to unmanned vehicle deployments at a moment's notice. Building on that concept, Block V boats introduce an even bigger game-changer, the Virginia Payload Module, VPM. Starting with submarines laid down from 2019 onward, a new 70-foot section appears mid-body between the operations compartment and the propulsion plant. This extra chunk of hull carries 4 more payload tubes, each taller than the original VPTs, and each capable of fitting up to 7 Tomahawk missiles. That brings the total cruise missile capacity up dramatically, replacing firepower once provided by converted Ohio-class SSGNs that are now heading for retirement. By tucking these tubes on the centerline, designers keep the boat balanced and avoid messing with its stealthy shape, while giving commanders more options for missile strikes without needing support ships nearby. Early plans called for 8 new tubes, but engineers soon realized that 4 would strike a better balance between added punch and manageable size. The VPM still adds length and cost. Initial estimates peg the price tag at $500 million extra per sub. Yet by packing more missiles into each hull, the Navy can meet its strike requirements with fewer boats overall, trimming the force by about 4 submarines. Later cost reviews slimmed the VPM budget to around $360 to $380 million by narrowing its mission to Tomahawk cruise missiles and leaving out more exotic cargo like medium-range ballistic missiles. Some of that savings also comes from sharing silo designs with future Ohio-class replacements, taking advantage of common parts and construction methods. Behind the scenes, General Dynamics Electric Boat handled the initial VPM design work, sketching out how to splice the extra module into the submarine's backbone. Final manufacturing is split among BWX Technologies and BAE Systems, who turn the blueprints into real steel and electronics. Contracts flowed steadily. A $19 million award in mid-2016 kickstarted VPM development, followed by a $126 million package in early 2017 to cover lead-time construction costs for the first Block V hulls. Those early investments paved the way for a production line that can weave the extra sections into submarines without drawing out the schedule. Beyond missiles, VPM tubes can double as launch points for unmanned undersea vehicles, a capability Block 3 subs only dreamed of. UUVs can slip out through the same tubes that once held Tomahawks, scouting shallow coastal waters, mapping the seabed for mines, or carrying specialized sensors into denied zones. That robotic edge makes each submarine a mini fleet of its own, combining human crews and machine helpers in a single hull. When a mission calls for stealthy reconnaissance rather than a heavy strike, divers simply swap out the missile canisters for UUV launchers, reconfiguring the boat's role in port in a matter of hours. This modular mindset carries forward into future upgrades. The Navy and industry partners are already sketching concepts for non-rotational panoramic masts and next-gen sonar arrays. By the time Block V boats hit the water en masse, they'll carry more firepower, more sensors, and more flexibility than any U.S. sub before them. Each added tube, each software tweak in their fire control system keeps them one step ahead of adversaries racing to counter American undersea might. In today's shifting strategic landscape, where potential flashpoints range from Arctic ice flows to crowded Asian littorals, having a submarine that can switch from deep strike platform to covert intelligence gatherer is invaluable. The Block 3 and 5 evolutions prove that even the most secretive warship benefits from a dash of modular thinking. By turning vertical launch tubes into multi-role assets, the Virginia-class remains not just a silent hunter, but a flexible tool of national power, ready to meet whatever challenge lies ahead under the waves. Deep beneath the restless waves of the strategic Red Sea, an invisible threat silently glides through the dark waters. Houthi submarines, shattering expectations and sending shockwaves across global naval powers. In a bold and unprecedented move, these elusive underwater vessels have just delivered a chilling message directly to U.S. warships patrolling one of the world's most volatile maritime crossroads. What does this covert underwater confrontation mean for the fragile balance of power in the Middle East? How close are we to a new and dangerous escalation in one of the world's most critical waterways? Join us as we uncover the Houthi submarines' threatening message sent to U.S. warships in the Red Sea. The Red Sea isn't just another stretch of water, it's one of the busiest and most important shipping lanes on Earth. Even though it looks narrow on a map, around 12% of all the world's trade flows through here. That includes container ships packed with everything from smartphones and sneakers to oil and food. Without this shortcut, ships would have to sail around Africa's southern tip, the Cape of Good Hope, a journey that can add over 2 weeks and tons of extra fuel costs. The Red Sea is also one of the warmest and saltiest seas on the planet. That unique mix makes it home to some of the most colorful and untouched coral reefs people will ever see. Its reefs are among the only ones in the world that show strong resistance to coral bleaching caused by climate change. Some scientists are now studying them to find out how coral can survive warming oceans. The sea is surrounded by powerful countries like Egypt, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen, all of whom see it as a strategic goldmine. Its ports, like Jeddah and Port Sudan, are critical to keeping global trade flowing. Military navies from around the world, including the US, China, and European countries, regularly patrol this area to keep it safe. On the southern edge of the Red Sea sits Yemen, a country with breathtaking mountains and ancient history, but also a place torn by years of conflict. A major player in Yemen's chaos is the Houthi movement, officially called Ansar Allah, which means supporters of God. They began as a small religious and political group from the Zaidi Shia community, a lesser-known branch of Shia Islam found mostly in northern Yemen. What sets Zaydism apart is that it blends elements of both Sunni and Shia beliefs, and it once led a 1,000-year-old dynasty in Yemen known as the Imamate. The Houthis grew from a small group into a powerful armed force that now controls big parts of Yemen, including the capital city, Sana'a. Despite facing heavy bombing from a Saudi-led coalition and being part of one of the worst humanitarian crises on Earth, where millions have no access to clean water or food, they've managed to survive and fight back using guerrilla tactics. They know the mountains of Yemen like the back of their hand, using caves and rugged terrain to hide and launch surprise attacks. What many people don't realize is how tech-savvy the Houthis have become. Backed by Iran, they've developed an arsenal of advanced drones, some of which can fly over 1,000 miles. While the designs come from Iran, the Houthis have customized many themselves using 3D printing and local workshops, basically making DIY war machines. Since November 2023, they've fired over 100 drone and missile strikes at ships in the Red Sea, especially ones they say are connected to Israel, claiming to show support for Palestinians during the Gaza conflict. The Houthis have also planted underwater mines and used remote-control boats packed with explosives, turning the Red Sea into a high-stakes danger zone for global shipping. Imagine a ship captain trying to steer through one of the world's busiest waterways, not just watching for storms or pirates, but also dodging hidden bombs under the waves. All of this makes the Red Sea more than just a trade route. It's a pressure point where local conflicts, like the war in Yemen, can ripple out to affect the whole world. One of the most eye-opening incidents in the Red Sea happened in December 2023, involving the massive container ship Maersk Hangzhou. Although flying a Singapore flag, this ship is owned by the Danish shipping giant Maersk, one of the world's oldest and largest shipping companies, operating since 1904. Hangzhou was sailing through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a narrow but crucial waterway that connects the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden. This strait sees the passage of about 6,200,000 barrels of oil per day and nearly 30% of all global container traffic. So when something goes wrong here, the world feels it. That's when the trouble started. The Houthi rebels from Yemen launched a bold and dangerous assault. They used small, fast attack boats, some disguised as fishing vessels, and even fired guided missiles, a tactic that echoes Iran's naval strategies in the Persian Gulf. These attacks weren't random. They were meant to disrupt global shipping and draw attention to the ongoing Israel-Gaza conflict, which the Houthis claim as justification for their actions. In this case, U.S. Navy helicopters operating from nearby warships like the USS Eisenhower and USS Gravely quickly responded. They opened fire, destroying 3 of the attacking boats and forcing the rest to retreat. Remarkably, no crew members on the Maersk Hangzhou were hurt, but the message was loud and clear. The Red Sea was no longer a safe highway. To tackle this growing threat, the United States launched Operation Prosperity Guardian in late December 2023. This wasn't just an American mission. It quickly turned into a coalition effort. Countries like the UK, France, Italy, Bahrain, and even Greece joined in, sending naval assets to patrol the waters. What makes this operation unique is that it's happening under a shared maritime security framework, but without going through NATO or the UN. That allowed for quicker coordination and more flexible rules of engagement. But the stakes kept rising. The Houthis managed to shoot down not 1, but 7 USMQ-9 Reaper drones. These drones, often called flying computers, are equipped with infrared cameras, laser target designators, and sometimes even Hellfire missiles. Each one costs roughly $30 million, and they usually operate at 50,000 feet. So taking them down shows just how advanced the Houthi weapon systems have become, likely thanks to Iranian technology and training. One of the drones was even reportedly shot down by a surface-to-air missile launched from a modified civilian truck. Then there was a dramatic incident aboard the U.S. Harry S. Truman, one of the Navy's 10 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. While the ship was performing evasive maneuvers to dodge incoming missiles and drones, an F/A-18E Super Hornet rolled off the flight deck and plunged into the sea. These jets are highly advanced, capable of flying faster than the speed of sound and packed with radar jamming tech. It's extremely rare for a plane to fall off a carrier outside of a combat landing or a mechanical failure, making this loss a serious operational concern. Few people know that the Houthis have even started using underwater drone boats, remote-controlled vessels packed with explosives designed to detonate beneath a ship's hull. These types of attacks are very hard to detect and almost impossible to defend against without close-range naval surveillance. The Houthis are also turning to psychological warfare. In intercepted broadcasts, they've warned commercial vessels by name, sometimes reading out shipping manifests in Arabic and English, something that's deeply unsettling to global shipping companies. Some ships have even started turning off their AIS trackers to avoid detection, which is risky because it increases the chance of collisions in busy sea lanes. All of this has turned the Bab el-Mandeb into a real maritime danger zone. What used to be a shortcut between Asia and Europe is now forcing many companies to reroute their ships around the Cape of Good Hope at the southern tip of Africa, a detour that adds up to 10 extra days and millions in fuel costs per trip. That's already starting to affect global supply chains and could drive up prices on everything from electronics to groceries. Recently, the U.S. military carried out what they called self-defense strikes on 5 different targets in areas of Yemen controlled by the Houthi rebels. This happened right after the Houthis shocked the world by using an unmanned submarine for the very first time in their attacks in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, 2 of the busiest and most strategically important waterways on the planet. These waters link the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean through the Suez Canal, making them a critical global shipping route. Around 10% of the world's trade and about a quarter of all oil shipments pass through here every day. The unmanned submarine, technically called an unmanned underwater vehicle, is a game changer. Unlike drones that fly in the air, these underwater robots can silently glide beneath the waves, making them far harder to spot with traditional radar or sonar systems. During a tense period of military activity, the Iranian-backed Houthi movement dropped a video that grabbed global attention. It showed them unveiling their latest weaponry in the form of maritime attacks on mock American and Israeli ships, demonstrating a range of high-tech experimental tools. On the surface, it might seem like just another exaggerated show-off video, But there's a bigger reason to pay attention. The Houthis have already managed to cause serious damage to multiple merchant ships in the Red Sea, with the world largely underestimating the threat they pose. The video introduced one particular weapon that stood out, the Al-Qariya, which translates to the Great Disaster. This weapon is a type of autonomous underwater vehicle, or AUV, that functions like a robotic torpedo, and, like a kamikaze mission, it's a one-way journey, no return. Now this is where it gets interesting. There's been online chatter about whether the Al-Qariya is simply a copy of the American-made REMIS 600, a highly advanced AUV used by Western navies for tasks like underwater mapping and mine detection. The real kicker? The Houthis got their hands on a REMIS 600 back in 2018 when it mysteriously vanished during a mission. So it wouldn't be too crazy to think they reverse-engineered the technology to make their version. However, a closer inspection reveals that while both share a similar shape, they are by no means identical. The Al-Qariya, for example, has 4 control fins at the back, unlike the REMIS, which only has 3. And the way the hull is designed and shaped seems different enough to suggest that the Houthis might have put their spin on things, or even brought in some outside help. It's not out of the question that they might have received assistance from nations like Iran or North Korea, both of whom are known for their advanced missile and weapons programs. Another curious thing about the Al-Qariya is its bright yellow color. Now, yellow might seem like an odd choice for a stealth weapon, but there's a practical reason for it. Across the world, many AUVs are painted yellow because it makes them easier to spot and recover after a training mission or if something goes wrong. However, in this case, it could also be a strategic decoy. By choosing yellow, the Houthis may be trying to make the AUV blend in with civilian or commercial underwater drones, avoiding suspicion and detection. Now, building a fully functional AUV from scratch is no small feat. These vehicles need advanced navigation systems, pressure-resistant hulls, and the ability to operate silently for extended periods underwater. If the Houthis are pulling this off, it's a clear indication of how quickly unconventional forces are catching up to traditional navies in the field of underwater warfare. Interestingly, the REMIS series itself was originally developed by a small U.S. company that spun out of a university research project. Fast forward to today, and the Houthis, along with other militias around the world, are replicating this military-grade tech that was once the exclusive domain of powerful superpowers. UUV technology is usually reserved for the most advanced navies around the world, like those of the US, China, and Russia. That the Houthis now have access to such a weapon signals a major leap in their military capabilities, and a troubling one. Experts say it's very unlikely that the Houthis developed this high-tech drone on their own. Instead, they likely received it from Iran, which has been known to supply sophisticated weapons to its allies in the region. Iran's involvement doesn't just stop at drones. They have a whole history of providing anti-ship cruise missiles, drones, and other smart weapons to groups like the Houthis. Some reports even suggest that Iranian engineers have helped in assembling or programming these underwater drones to operate autonomously or remotely. Besides the underwater drone, the U.S. also targeted an unmanned surface vessel, a robotic boat that can float on the water's surface without a crew. These surface drones are also very hard to detect and can carry explosives or surveillance gear. The U.S. struck these along with anti-ship cruise missiles, which have been a staple in the Houthis' arsenal for years. These missiles are a big deal because they can travel over 100 miles at high speeds and precisely target ships, causing serious damage or disruption. Another thing is that unmanned underwater vehicles like these can be programmed to mimic natural sea life movements or can be set to patrol specific routes silently, making them perfect for surprise attacks or surveillance without being noticed. This technology is still relatively new, even for powerful navies, and seeing it in the hands of a rebel group shows how quickly warfare technology is spreading globally. In short, the U.S. strikes aim to stop this emerging threat before it could cause bigger problems for regional and global security. After a fragile ceasefire paused Yemen's bloody civil war in 2022, the Houthis still control key regions, including the capital Sana'a. They've essentially created a mini-state within Yemen, complete with their army, police, and even a shadow government. Backing the Houthis behind the scenes is Iran's Quds Force, the elite wing of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps that handles overseas operations. This group is like Iran's secret military arm abroad, known for training and supplying militant groups across the Middle East, including Hezbollah in Lebanon and militias in Iraq and Syria. The Quds Force has helped smuggle precision-guided missiles, kamikaze drones, and radar jamming technology into Yemen, despite international arms embargoes. For months, the Houthis have been trying to strike U.S. Navy ships operating in the Red Sea and surrounding waters. Their goal is to disrupt international shipping and challenge American presence in one of the world's most strategic maritime routes, especially the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which sees nearly 10% of global oil trade pass through daily. Yet despite repeated attempts using missiles and drones, they haven't managed to land a hit on a U.S. warship so far, but they're not giving up. According to U.S. defense officials, the Houthis, with Iranian guidance, are tweaking their playbook. They're shifting toward more sophisticated and dangerous tactics, like swarm attacks, where dozens of drones or explosive-laden speedboats hit a target from all directions at once. This tactic is designed to overload a ship's defenses. Even advanced U.S. naval vessels like the USS Carney, equipped with Aegis radar systems and SM-2 missiles, can struggle to shoot down everything in a massive, multi-pronged assault. What makes these unmanned threats even more alarming is that many are based on Iranian Shahed drone models, the same kind used by Russia and Ukraine. These drones are cheap to produce, often assembled with off-the-shelf parts like GPS units from China or circuit boards smuggled in through black markets. And despite being low-tech in some ways, they're deadly when used in large numbers. The situation escalated even further when, in early 2024, another Iranian-backed militia group struck a U.S. base in Jordan, killing 3 American service members and injuring dozens more. This marked the deadliest attack on U.S. forces in the region in years. In response, the U.S. launched waves of airstrikes targeting Iran-linked groups in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. Now Washington is warning, if one of these Houthi drones, missiles, or sea drones manages to kill American sailors, Iran won't just be blamed, it could be held directly responsible. That could set the stage for a much wider regional conflict, possibly dragging in Gulf allies, Israel, and other global powers. On January 15th, the U.S. Coast Guard intercepted a suspicious vessel making its way from Iran toward Houthi-controlled territory in Yemen. On January 28, 2024, the U.S. Coast Guard cutter USCG Sea Clarence Sutphin Jr. made a surprising and high-stakes discovery in the Arabian Sea. It intercepted an Iranian dhow, a traditional wooden cargo boat that's been used for centuries, and uncovered something far more dangerous than spices or textiles: over 200 carefully packaged pieces of military hardware headed for Houthi-controlled Yemen. This wasn't just a random weapons bust. Inside the haul were parts for medium-range ballistic missiles, high-powered explosives, anti-tank guided missile launcher assemblies, encrypted military communication systems, and most notably, components for unmanned surface and underwater drones, commonly known as USVs and UUVs. The Houthis have been using improvised naval drones for years. Some of their most dangerous ones are disguised as everyday fishing boats or speedboats packed with explosives. What's especially alarming about this find is how advanced some of these drone components were. Intelligence experts say parts of the shipment suggest newer generations of maritime drones capable of operating underwater, essentially aquatic suicide drones. These are much harder to detect and stop than surface vessels, which is why naval forces around the world are keeping a close eye on this kind of tech. The operation violated UN Security Council Resolution 2216, which strictly bans the transfer of weapons to the Houthi rebels. And this wasn't a one-time thing, far from it. Between 2015 and 2023, at least 18 Iranian smuggling vessels were intercepted trying to sneak similar cargoes into Yemen. In several cases, some of the weapons bore serial numbers that matched Iranian military inventories, making it hard for Tehran to deny involvement. CENTCOM Commander General Michael Eric Kurilla didn't mince words. He called out Iran directly, saying these actions are destabilizing the entire region and threatening international shipping and security. And he's not exaggerating. 2 such USVs were destroyed in recent U.S. airstrikes, underscoring the growing threat they pose to maritime security in the region. This wasn't just about stopping weapons with boots on the ground or ships at sea. The U.S. also launched a rare and sophisticated cyber attack. According to American officials, The target was an Iranian vessel named MV Behshad. This ship is essentially a floating surveillance base, outfitted with high-tech equipment used for electronic spying. It's been quietly sailing around the Red Sea for months, relaying critical intelligence to Houthi forces, like the precise GPS coordinates of targets. The U.S. cyber attack reportedly disabled the Behshad's ability to communicate, disrupting its role in coordinating strikes. The MV Behshad is part of Iran's so-called Ghost Fleet, a network of civilian-looking ships that collect surveillance data while posing as merchant vessels. Many of these ships are equipped with satellite dishes, radar domes, and antennas disguised as harmless features. Some experts believe these ships are also capable of jamming GPS signals or intercepting drone feeds. The U.S. hit the Behshad as part of a broader, multi-layered response following a deadly January 28th attack in Jordan that killed 3 American service members. That attack, blamed on Iranian-backed militia groups, pushed Washington to adopt more aggressive tactics both online and offline. Meanwhile, the Houthis didn't stay quiet. They claimed responsibility for 5 attacks within a 24-hour window. 2 of those strikes targeted American ships in the Gulf of Aden, one of the world's busiest shipping routes, and another reportedly hit and sank a British cargo vessel. The Houthis have been using increasingly advanced and improvised tactics. In recent months, they've deployed everything from cruise missiles and one-way attack drones to modified speedboats packed with explosives, some of which are remotely piloted by tablets or phones using satellite internet. Interestingly, many of the intercepted weapon parts show signs of being 3D printed or made using commercial, off-the-shelf components. This makes tracking and stopping them even harder. U.S. officials have said that some Houthi drones contain circuit boards made in countries like China or even the U.S., highlighting the global reach of their supply chains. By May 2025, after enduring nearly a month of relentless U.S. airstrikes targeting radar sites, missile launchers, and drone facilities, the Houthi rebels in Yemen finally signaled they were open to dialing things down. U.S. intelligence picked up on a noticeable drop in Houthi communications traffic and fewer launch activities, clues that something had shifted behind the scenes. This eventually led to a ceasefire being announced on May 6th. As part of the agreement, the Houthis committed to halting attacks on American ships in the Red Sea. However, they were quick to clarify that they still considered Israeli-linked vessels fair game. That's a big deal, because they've been using everything from modified Iranian-made drones to old Soviet-era cruise missiles, many of which have been retrofitted with GPS spoofing technology to avoid interception. Some of these missiles, like the Quds-2 and Quds-3, are believed to have a range of up to 1,500 kilometers and have been launched from concealed mobile platforms hidden in Yemen's rugged highlands. The impact of the attacks has gone far beyond the military sphere. The Houthis disrupted a key global trade route, one that handles roughly $1 trillion in goods annually. At least 12 major shipping companies, including Maersk, Hapag-Lloyd, and Mediterranean Shipping Company, temporarily pulled out of the Red Sea, forcing cargo vessels to reroute around the southern tip of Africa, a detour that adds up to 14 days and thousands of miles to their journey. As a result, global shipping costs surged by as much as 65% in early 2025. Even energy giants like BP and Shell suspended their Red Sea transits due to safety concerns. This had a knock-on effect. European fuel prices briefly spiked due to delivery delays, and Asian manufacturers, particularly in Japan and South Korea, faced bottlenecks importing semiconductors and rare earth minerals used in everything from smartphones to electric cars. What many people don't realize is that the Houthis' ability to sustain these operations is deeply tied to a vast underground supply network. Intelligence reports suggest they've received not only weapons and funding from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, but also satellite imagery and encrypted communication support. There's even unconfirmed chatter that former engineers from Iraq's dissolved Ba'athist-era military have been assisting them in building long-range drones and cruise missiles using scavenged parts from defunct aircraft and old Iraqi arsenals. Another fascinating twist is that Red Sea piracy is making a quiet comeback. The instability caused by the Houthi attacks has created gaps in maritime security, and some Somali pirate networks, dormant for nearly a decade, have begun regrouping to exploit the chaos. So while the US Houthi ceasefire has brought a moment of calm, it's more of a fragile timeout than a true resolution. With Israeli-linked ships still being targeted and broader tensions between the US, Iran, and regional Gulf powers simmering, the Red Sea remains one of the most dangerous and closely watched maritime flashpoints on the planet. All it would take is one missile that hits the wrong ship, or worse, a civilian target, to reignite the entire conflict. China's newest submarine is making waves, literally and strategically. As tensions rise in the South China Sea and beyond, this advanced vessel is changing how undersea warfare is viewed in the region. Packed with stealth technology, long-range weapons, and a unique propulsion system, it is a major advancement for the Chinese Navy. Could this new submarine shift the balance of naval power in the Pacific? How might other nations respond to China's growing underwater strength? Join us as we explore the reasons why everyone believes this Chinese submarine would change everything. China has built something new beneath the waves, a high-tech submarine that runs on batteries but charges them using a small nuclear reactor. This unique machine, called the Type 041, might just be China's secret weapon near its coastlines. It's built to be sneaky, quiet, and hard to track, especially in the shallow waters of the Western Pacific. And for the United States and its allies, that could be a real headache. This strange new sub first caught people's attention when it was spotted from space. In April, satellite pictures showed the vessel sitting at a shipyard in Wuhan, deep inside China. Analysts were quick to notice that this wasn't just any ordinary submarine. It seems to come with several cutting-edge features, including a vertical launch system, known as VLS, that can fire cruise missiles and special anti-ship ballistic missiles. Another noticeable feature is its X-shaped tail fin, which could make the submarine more agile and stable underwater. This type of tail design is usually seen on more modern submarines and helps the vessel turn quickly and safely while moving through deep waters. The addition of a vertical launch system is a big deal. Most submarines still launch missiles through torpedo tubes, which limits the number and type of weapons they can carry. A VLS, however, makes it possible to store more missiles and fire them faster. It also reduces the risk of blind spots during launch, giving the sub a much better chance of hitting its target quickly and accurately. Then, 5 months later, something strange happened. Reports began to surface that the submarine had some kind of accident while it was tied up at its dock. Some even claimed it sank right where it sat. Now, analysts and experts around the world are watching closely. Everyone wants to know if China is quietly fixing the damaged sub or secretly working on new ones. Even though it may have run into trouble early on, the Type 041 still has everyone curious. That's because of how it moves underwater. Its power system is like nothing anyone has ever seen before. Most submarines fall into one of two types. One kind is fully nuclear powered. These can stay underwater for months and travel around the world without needing to come up. The other kind runs on diesel engines and batteries. They're cheaper and quieter, but they have to surface more often to recharge. China's new submarine, though, is a mix of both. It has a very small nuclear reactor, not big enough to run the whole boat, but just powerful enough to recharge the batteries while the sub stays underwater. That means it can glide beneath the surface for long periods without the noise and heat that usually give away a nuclear sub's location. It's designed to sneak around in shallow water, close to shore, where enemy ships and submarines might not expect it. This type of system solves a big problem that submarine designers have struggled with for decades, which is how to build a sub that's both quiet and long-lasting underwater. Nuclear subs are powerful, but they're easier to detect. Diesel subs are harder to find, but they can't stay hidden for as long. By mixing both ideas, China may have found a clever way to stay hidden for days or even weeks while still having enough power to attack or defend. Of course, it's still early. No one outside of China knows exactly how many of these subs exist or how well they actually work. The accident in the harbor raises questions about safety and design. Was it just a one-time mistake, or does this new sub still have serious flaws? What is clear is that this hybrid submarine shows China is thinking outside the box when it comes to undersea warfare. If they can fix the problems and build more of these boats, it could change the way navies operate in the Western Pacific. For the United States and its allies who rely on tracking and controlling undersea movements, This quiet little submarine could cause big problems. Unlike older systems, this new nuclear battery submarine from China could quietly move at speeds of up to 9 or 10 knots while staying completely underwater. That's much faster than most conventional air-independent propulsion subs, which can only go about 4 to 6 knots. This increase in speed gives the Type 041 class a serious edge. It means the submarine could slip past Japan and cruise into the deeper waters east of the islands, hiding out beneath the surface while waiting for US or Allied ships to come near. The potential impact of this submarine in a real conflict could be huge. Let's say a war breaks out between China and Taiwan. If the United States decides to help Taiwan, as it has promised in the past, US Navy ships would likely rush across the Pacific to support them. But if a group of Type 041 submarines had already taken position days before the fighting even started, they could lie in wait, hidden and silent, ready to strike. These subs could launch surprise attacks on US Navy battle groups as they move westward into the region. That's what makes these hybrid submarines so dangerous. Their ability to stay underwater for around 20 days without surfacing, combined with their increased speed and stealth, means they could quietly prepare for battle before anyone even realizes they're there. Traditional submarines, which need to surface or move slowly while submerged, just can't compete with that kind of hidden power. Because of this, experts believe that China's Navy won't be discouraged by the reported sinking of the first Type 041. Even though there may have been an accident, China likely sees this design as too important to abandon. It's not just about one submarine, it's about creating an entire force that can challenge American and Allied navies near China's coastlines and beyond. This type of submarine could be especially powerful in the South China Sea, a highly contested area that's full of tension and military activity. The waters in the South China Sea have an average depth of more than 1,200 meters, and the sea floor is far from simple. The area is filled with tricky underwater features like islands, reefs, sandbars, and deep ocean trenches. These natural features make it a challenging place for any ship to operate, but they also offer a perfect hiding place for a quiet submarine. In such an environment, a sub with long underwater endurance and strong strike power would be a big advantage. Experts believe this new Chinese submarine could make full use of the region's deep and complex waters to avoid detection and carry out secret missions. And because of its upgraded long-range missiles, it could strike targets from far away, just like a nuclear-powered submarine can. This is a major development, because until now, only nuclear subs were known for their ability to travel long distances and launch powerful attacks while staying hidden. If this new non-nuclear sub can match those abilities, it could change the balance of power in the region. China would have a stealthy weapon that's cheaper than a nuclear sub, but nearly as powerful. More importantly, the submarine may act as a strong warning to other countries. It could serve as a silent reminder to China's neighbors and even outside powers like the United States that China is ready to defend its interests. With this new submarine quietly patrolling the South China Sea, China sends a message: stay back or be ready for a response. As tensions continue to grow in the region, the presence of this advanced submarine adds a new layer of pressure. With its long-range strike abilities and high-tech stealth system, it may become one of the most important tools in China's undersea defense strategy. Right now, China's engineers are working on mastering other advanced AIP technologies, like fuel cells and safer lithium-ion batteries. But until those systems are fully developed and proven, the nuclear battery idea may be the key to getting ahead. It's a smart way to mix old and new technology, combining the quiet nature of electric subs with the lasting power of nuclear energy without needing a full-size nuclear reactor. This could lead to a powerful near-shore defense force made up of submarines that are quiet, fast, and hard to find. These subs would be perfect for operations around Taiwan, the South China Sea, and other nearby waters. They wouldn't need to travel around the world like some American nuclear subs, but they wouldn't need to. They'd be designed to dominate their own backyard. If China moves forward with more of these boats, it could reshape how undersea warfare works in Asia. The US and its allies would have to work even harder to detect and defend against these quiet threats, especially if they appear suddenly during a crisis. But that's not all this submarine represents. It is also a creative answer to an old problem. How do you keep a mostly non-nuclear, sub-powered underwater for long periods without giving away its position. Usually, diesel-electric submarines need to recharge their batteries with diesel engines. To do that, they either have to come up to the surface or rise just enough to stick out a breathing tube, known as a snort mask, so the engines can get air. But the second they do that, they risk being seen and attacked. The other option is to go fully nuclear. Nuclear-powered subs don't need air and can stay hidden deep underwater for months. But those kinds of subs cost a lot of money to build and maintain, so not every Navy can afford them. That's why many countries try a third path, installing something called air-independent propulsion, or AIP, in their smaller submarines. AIP is a clever way to help diesel subs stay underwater longer without needing to come up for air. There are different versions of AIP. Some use liquid oxygen to burn fuel and make electricity. Others rely on fuel cells, which quietly produce power through a chemical process. Then there's the Japanese Navy, which has taken a bold step by building submarines that use lithium-ion batteries. These are the same kinds of batteries found in electric cars and phones, but much larger and more powerful. They store a lot more energy than regular sub-batteries, allowing longer underwater trips. But AIP systems come with their own risks. They're not easy to build or operate. They involve lots of sensitive parts, and if something goes wrong, the results can be dangerous. Every country trying to build AIP technology faces challenges, and even the slightest design flaw can create serious problems. China, like many others, has been working on these kinds of systems, but progress hasn't been easy. Experts say the Chinese Navy has had a hard time developing advanced fuel cell systems, like the ones used by the German, South Korean, and Singaporean navies. These countries have managed to design and use AIP systems that are quiet, reliable, and effective. China has also stayed away from using lithium-ion batteries in its submarines, even though Japan has shown that it's possible. Most submarine designers still worry that these batteries are too risky, since they can overheat or even catch fire if not handled correctly. That's what makes China's new submarine design so interesting. Instead of using a complicated AIP system or risky high-powered batteries, they've tried something different. A small nuclear reactor that's just big enough to recharge the boat's batteries while it stays underwater. This way, the submarine doesn't need to surface or snort for air, and it doesn't rely on delicate AIP parts or dangerous battery tech. It's a smart middle ground, a mix of the quietness of diesel subs and the endurance of nuclear ones, without the full costs or dangers of either. While China still has work to do to perfect this idea, it shows they're thinking creatively. If this new system works, it could change how small submarines operate, making them harder to find and better at sneaking around in shallow waters. Other navies will surely be paying close attention, because if China figures it out first, the underwater game might never be the same again. But while it sounds like a dream come true, there are areas of concern. Chinese experts have raised serious concerns about the use of advanced battery systems in submarines, especially when it comes to safety. One of the biggest dangers they point out is something called thermal runaway. This happens when a battery overheats uncontrollably, which can lead to fires, even while a submarine is deep underwater. In that situation, a fire isn't just dangerous, it could be deadly. Inside a submerged vessel, there's nowhere to escape, and even a small fire could quickly turn into a disaster. Because of this, some believe that using a small nuclear reactor to charge submarine batteries might be a smarter and safer option, especially for a navy like China's, which hasn't fully mastered other advanced air-independent propulsion systems. A tiny nuclear reactor doesn't get as hot as fast and is less likely to overheat compared to risky lithium-ion batteries or complex fuel cell systems. That makes it a more stable way to power a submarine while it remains hidden beneath the waves. According to analyst Dr. Sarah Kirchberger and retired U.S. Navy Captain Christopher Carlson, this nuclear-powered battery system could give China's new Type 041 submarine the ability to stay submerged for up to 20 days at a time. That's a huge leap compared to older diesel-electric submarines, which usually can only remain underwater for about 2 days before needing to surface and recharge. In fact, this new method could give the sub 10 times the underwater endurance of traditional systems. That extra time underwater is more than just a technical upgrade, it's a major strategic advantage. Right now, China's older non-nuclear submarines, like the Type 035 and Type 039 models, face a tough challenge. To move beyond the so-called first island chain, a line of territory stretching from Japan down to the Philippines, they usually need to surface or send up a mast to take in air. When they do that, they risk being spotted by U.S. or allied anti-submarine patrols, putting the entire mission in danger. Any AIP system could help solve that problem by allowing the sub to stay submerged longer. But there's still a catch. Subs powered by conventional AIP systems, such as those using fuel cells or liquid oxygen, can't move very fast while underwater. Their top speed when using these systems is often only between 4 and 6 knots. That means they can't get far or escape quickly if they're spotted. This is where the Type 041's nuclear-charged battery comes into play. If the small reactor allows the sub to not only stay hidden, but also move faster than those traditional AIP subs, it could give China's Navy a big tactical edge. It would be able to sneak past enemy lines, stay off the radar, and potentially launch attacks without ever being seen. Of course, this idea is still being tested. China's new hybrid submarine concept is just beginning to show what it can do. But if the design works and the safety concerns are truly under control, this could be a game changer in modern naval warfare. Instead of picking between quiet but limited diesel subs or powerful but noisy nuclear ones, China may have found a third option that combines the best of both worlds. Other navies will definitely be watching closely, and they have to, because whether this advanced submarine is sent out on its own or with a small group, it could force enemy forces, like those of the United States and its allies, to split up and spread thin. This strategy, known as asymmetrical deterrence, could allow China to create confusion among enemy fleets and take control of key battles. The report explains that this kind of tactic would help China's main military forces gain a stronger position in terms of weapons and strength. That kind of edge, it says, could help China win important fights, especially in areas close to its shores, like the South China Sea or near Taiwan. This new sub is believed to be able to take over some of the same missions, usually handled by nuclear-powered submarines. That includes launching surprise attacks on surface ships and carrying out long-distance strikes on land targets. One such target could be the U.S. missile defense system recently set up in the northern Philippines, near China's borders. Beijing has strongly criticized the U.S. move to place its Typhoon missile launchers on Luzon Island. Chinese officials call it a major threat and say it should be removed. The U.S., however, is not backing down. It is now talking about putting similar systems in Japan, Germany, and Denmark. This is all part of a wider plan to block China's access to key sea routes in the Western Pacific during a time of conflict. As the U.S. and its allies continue to prepare, China's new submarine may become a serious factor in changing the balance. With stronger weapons, longer reach, and more advanced tech, this underwater vessel could soon play a leading role in the next chapter of power struggles beneath the sea. This new deadly nuclear submarine is ready to dominate the seas. Since the Second World War, the open sea has become more than just a travel route and more a battleground where countries with sophisticated and advanced technologies often showcase their military capabilities. The United States, a country with an impressive naval force, has taken over the sea with its new lethal nuclear submarine. What are the capabilities of this submarine? How did these vessels become an important determinant in a country's military? Join us as we explore the capabilities of the United States' new deadliest 2025 nuclear submarine that is ready for action. Nuclear submarines have evolved through multiple generations, each bringing major innovations and improvements to underwater military technology. These advancements have transformed submarines from basic nuclear-powered vessels into highly sophisticated machines capable of long-term missions and remarkable stealth. The first nuclear submarines, developed in the 1950s, marked the start of this revolution. However, they were far from perfect. These early models were loud, which made them easier to detect, and their sonar systems, essential for navigation and detecting threats, were relatively rudimentary. While revolutionary for their time, these submarines were stepping stones toward more advanced designs. By the 1960s and 1970s, second-generation submarines emerged with streamlined hulls designed to enhance their speed and agility underwater. These new shapes not only improved performance, but also made the submarines less detectable. This period saw a shift toward designing vessels that were faster, quieter, and better suited to evade enemy detection systems. The 1980s introduced third-generation submarines, which brought a host of upgrades. These submarines were larger, enabling them to carry more weapons and supplies. They were also built to remain submerged for extended periods, thanks to improved autonomy and onboard systems. Crews benefited from better living conditions, making long missions more manageable. Additionally, many models during this era, such as the U.S. Ohio and Los Angeles classes, were equipped with reactors that could operate for over a decade without refueling. These innovations reduced the need for frequent maintenance, allowing the submarines to remain operational for up to 30 years without major overhauls. In the 1990s, fourth-generation submarines entered service, representing a new era of technological sophistication. These submarines were designed with advanced stealth features, including quieter propulsion systems like water jets and sound-dampening materials that made them nearly undetectable. The weaponry on fourth-generation submarines also saw dramatic improvements. For instance, American submarines could carry up to 50 cruise missiles, significantly boosting their firepower. These submarines became versatile platforms capable of both offensive and defensive missions, from launching nuclear strikes to engaging in conventional warfare. Nuclear submarines also serve different roles based on their classification. One of the most significant types is the ballistic missile submarine, which is designed to carry nuclear-armed missiles. These submarines act as a key component of a nation's deterrent strategy, ensuring that any attack would be met with a powerful response. Ohio-class submarines form the backbone of the U.S. Navy's strategic deterrence capabilities. Each submarine is equipped with 20 Trident 2D5 ballistic missiles, which are some of the most advanced and reliable in the world. These missiles can be armed with two types of warheads: the W-76, delivering a yield of 100 kilotons, and the W-88, offering a much higher yield of 475 kilotons, a single Trident. 2D5 missile can carry either 14 W-76 warheads or 8 W-88 warheads. With a range of 7,350 kilometers, these missiles can strike targets across vast distances, ensuring a robust second strike capability. The Ohio-class submarines are also highly maneuverable for their size, capable of reaching a submerged speed of 25 knots, which enhances their ability to evade detection and operate stealthily. In comparison, Russia's Borei-class submarines serve as the strategic counterpart to the Ohio-class. Each Borei-class submarine is armed with 16 Bulava missiles, each carrying up to 10 warheads, with yields ranging from 100 to 150 kilotons. These submarines are slightly faster than their U.S. counterparts, reaching a maximum submerged speed of 29 knots. This speed provides them with greater mobility, allowing them to operate effectively in diverse underwater environments while remaining elusive to potential adversaries. The second key category of nuclear submarines is the multipurpose class, or SSN. These submarines are versatile and capable of performing various missions, including intelligence gathering, anti-ship warfare, and land attack missions. One of the most advanced in this category is the U.S. Navy's Seawolf-class submarine. These vessels are designed for speed, stealth, and firepower, carrying up to 50 cruise missiles, including Tomahawks and Harpoons. The Seawolf is among the fastest submarines in operation, capable of achieving speeds of up to 35 knots underwater. However, their advanced technology comes at a high cost. Each Seawolf-class submarine costs approximately $4.3 billion, limiting the fleet to only 3 vessels. A more common and cost-effective alternative is the Virginia-class submarine. These submarines are designed for flexibility and affordability, making them the primary multi-purpose submarines in the U.S. Navy. Depending on the specific series, Virginia-class submarines can carry between 12 and 24 Tomahawk cruise missiles, giving them significant strike capabilities. They are slightly slower than the Seawolf class, with a top speed of 34 knots. But their widespread use reflects a balanced approach to cost and performance. Nuclear propulsion systems set these submarines apart from their diesel-electric counterparts. Nuclear-powered submarines can operate underwater for months without surfacing, allowing them to perform extended patrols and evade detection. The autonomy provided by nuclear reactors is unmatched, enabling submarines to cover vast areas and carry out diverse missions. The United States and the United Kingdom have completely phased out diesel-electric submarines, relying exclusively on nuclear propulsion for their fleets. This contrasts with most other nations, which still rely on diesel-electric models due to lower costs and specific operational needs. Only 5 nations operate nuclear-powered submarines: the United States, Russia, China, the United Kingdom, and France. These countries have invested heavily in nuclear technology to maintain strategic advantages at sea. For example, the Seawolf-class submarines are powered by S-6W nuclear reactors, which deliver a thermal output of 300,000 horsepower and shaft power of 57,000 horsepower. This enables the submarine to achieve high speeds and maintain energy-efficient operations. Nuclear submarines are technological marvels designed for stealth and strategic capabilities. One of their key advancements is the use of steam turbines that allow reactors to operate at most of their full power using natural circulation. This system eliminates the need for coolant pumps, drastically reducing noise. The quieter operation is essential for submarines to remain undetected during critical missions, making it a vital feature for modern naval warfare. The history of nuclear submarine accidents provides insight into the challenges of operating these advanced vessels. A total of 8 nuclear-powered submarines have sunk since the introduction of the technology. These include 4 Soviet, 2 Russian, and 2 American submarines. Each incident occurred under different circumstances, laying emphasis on the risks involved in their operations. The USS Thresher sank in 1963 due to hull damage, marking a significant loss for the U.S. Navy and prompting improvements in submarine safety protocols. In Russia, the most notable disaster was the sinking of the Kursk submarine in 2000 during a naval exercise. This tragic incident was caused by the explosion of an experimental torpedo on board, leading to catastrophic damage and the loss of the crew. A major difference between Russian and American nuclear submarines lies in their structural designs. American submarines are typically built with single-hull architecture, where the pressure hull doubles as the external hull. This design minimizes weight and enhances speed and maneuverability. In contrast, Russian submarines often utilize a double-hull design consisting of a strong inner pressure hull and an outer lightweight streamlined hull. Despite these differences, there is a growing trend towards single-hull designs in submarine construction. Advances in material science have played a crucial role in this shift. The U.S. Navy, for instance, uses high-strength HY-100 steel in its submarines, which allows the hull to withstand immense pressure at great depths. This material significantly enhances the survivability of single-hull submarines, narrowing the gap in durability between single-hull and double-hull designs. As technology progresses, even stronger materials are expected to emerge, further improving the structural integrity and overall capabilities of future submarines. The internal configuration of nuclear submarines is also worth noting. Submarines are divided into compartments with the number of sections depending on the vessel's design and purpose. Ohio-class submarines, for example, are divided into 4 main compartments. Among these, the second compartment is particularly significant. It houses 24 missile silos that run vertically through the entire height of the compartment. Each silo is sealed with a hydraulically operated lid, ensuring the protection and rapid deployment of missiles. This compartment is crucial for the submarine's role as a strategic deterrent, capable of delivering powerful nuclear strikes if required. In addition to structural advancements, propulsion and weapon systems in nuclear submarines continue to evolve. Noise reduction technologies such as natural circulation reactors and improved hull designs make modern submarines more difficult to detect. The combination of stealth, firepower, and survivability ensures that nuclear submarines remain critical assets for naval operations and national security. The missile launch system of the Ohio-class submarine is built for security and reliability under extreme conditions. The shaft lid is designed to seal tightly and endure pressures equal to the surrounding solid structure, ensuring no external damage or interference can occur. A locking mechanism is integrated to prevent unauthorized access. Inside the shaft is a starting cup, which is protected by a dome-shaped membrane made of phenolic resin reinforced with ASAS. This membrane acts as a barrier to keep water out when the lid is opened during pre-launch operations. Upon missile launch, explosive charges destroy the membrane, breaking it into central and side fragments to clear the shaft for the missile's exit. The Ohio-class submarine uses the advanced Mk-98 fire control system, enabling rapid readiness and launch of its missiles. The system can prepare all missiles for launch within 15 minutes. It calculates firing data, inputs the data into the missiles, performs pre-launch diagnostics, and confirms readiness. If necessary, the system can reassign targets for all missiles before launch. The launch process begins with a powder pressure accumulator, which generates gas by burning gunpowder. The gas passes through a water chamber where it is partially cooled and then enters the lower part of the launch cup. This process creates enough pressure to push the missile upward with an acceleration of approximately 10 Gs, ejecting it from the shaft at a speed of about 50 meters per second. As the missile ascends, the diaphragm at the top of the shaft ruptures, allowing the missile to pass through. Simultaneously, seawater starts to fill the shaft. To maintain the submarine's stability, the seawater is pumped into a dedicated replacement tank, ensuring the submarine remains at a consistent depth and position. Gyroscopic stabilizers and water ballast systems further manage the submarine's balance during launch operations. Missiles can be launched in rapid intervals of 15 to 20 seconds, even at depths of 30 meters, speeds of 5 knots, and in sea conditions with waves as high as 6 points. In cases of maximum operational demand, the entire missile load can be fired in a single coordinated salvo. Once the missile exits the shaft, its engine activates at an altitude of 10 to 30 meters above the water's surface, ensuring effective propulsion and trajectory. The Trident missiles carried by Ohio-class submarines are known for their precision and long range. These capabilities allow them to target and destroy heavily fortified locations, such as silo launchers and deeply buried command centers. Their extended range enables submarines to operate in the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans while remaining within U.S. naval protective zones, increasing their combat stability. This positioning allows the submarines to maintain constant readiness while staying well protected. Ohio-class submarines represent a critical component of the U.S. nuclear triad, with their effectiveness and low maintenance costs making them indispensable. They currently carry 2,116 of the 3,492 deployed nuclear warheads, accounting for 60% of the U.S. strategic arsenal. For multi-purpose nuclear submarines, launch silos have been replaced with universal systems equipped with drum magazines for deploying torpedoes, cruise missiles, and surface-to-surface missiles. The onboard nuclear reactors allow these submarines to operate for extended periods without resupply, enhancing their range and autonomy. This combination of advanced systems and enduring operational capabilities ensures Ohio-class submarines remain a vital asset in maintaining U.S. strategic deterrence. Modern nuclear submarines are engineering marvels capable of extended underwater missions. Theoretically, these vessels can undertake autonomous voyages lasting up to 6 months. However, in practice, the average mission duration for most submarines globally is closer to 2 to 3 months. This discrepancy is not due to technological limitations, such as running out of air, but for other, more practical reasons. Contrary to what many might assume, air supply is not a critical constraint for nuclear submarines. These vessels require a significant amount of air, not only to sustain the 150 to 160 crew members on board, but also for other operations such as surfacing, which involves blowing water tanks, and launching torpedoes from torpedo tubes. Despite these demands, air shortages are avoided through advanced onboard systems. Modern nuclear submarines use water electrolysis to generate oxygen. This process, which splits water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen, ensures a continuous supply of breathable air even during prolonged missions, effectively removing air supply as a limiting factor. The primary obstacle to extended submarine operations is human psychology. Spending long durations in confined, isolated spaces with the same small group of people presents significant mental and emotional challenges. Crew members must endure limited personal space, repetitive tasks, and a lack of fresh social interactions. The psychological strain caused by these factors becomes the main reason why missions are typically capped at 2 to 3 months. Efforts to mitigate these challenges include rotating crews and implementing strict routines. But the mental toll remains a significant limitation for prolonged underwater deployments. Looking ahead, the development of fifth-generation nuclear submarines is set to redefine underwater operations. These submarines will incorporate state-of-the-art technologies to enhance performance, safety, and combat capabilities. The United States has taken a leading position in this race, surpassing Russia in key areas of submarine innovation. For example, the American Seawolf-class submarines already feature advanced modular reactors. These reactors are housed in separate compartments and require no maintenance throughout the submarine's 40-year operational life. By contrast, Russia is still in the development phase of integrating such technologies. Another groundbreaking feature of the Seawolf class is the inclusion of autonomous rescue capsules. These capsules are designed to evacuate the entire crew in emergencies, significantly improving safety. Future submarines are also expected to retain duplicated reactor systems for added redundancy and reliability. Their propulsion systems will likely feature a water hammer mechanism controlled by a secondary electric motor during standard operations and by a reactor turbine during high-speed maneuvers. This dual system will enhance both efficiency and versatility. Automation will play a crucial role in these next-generation submarines. Fully automated control systems will centralize the crew in a single, highly protected module, reducing the need for personnel to move through various compartments. This will not only improve safety, but also address some of the psychological challenges of confined living spaces. In terms of weaponry, future submarines will be equipped with advanced armaments, including hypersonic missiles. These weapons, such as the Russian Poseidon II-M39, represent a significant leap in underwater combat capabilities. Hypersonic missiles are designed to travel at extraordinary speeds, making them nearly impossible to intercept. This Poseidon is an impressive underwater weapon designed for strategic nuclear deterrence. It is essentially a massive, autonomous torpedo powered by a nuclear propulsion system, enabling it to travel long distances underwater without requiring surface support. This weapon is equipped with a megaton-class nuclear warhead capable of catastrophic destruction. While specific details about Poseidon's technical specifications are scarce, estimates place its length between 16 and 24 meters, its diameter at 1.5 to 2 meters, and its weight at approximately 100 tons. The system can reportedly reach speeds of up to 70 knots and operate at depths of up to 1,000 meters, making it highly stealthy and difficult to intercept. Its primary purpose is to ensure devastating consequences for coastal regions, particularly those of adversaries. Its nuclear warhead is designed to create widespread destruction through explosive force and long-term radioactive contamination. This contamination would render affected areas uninhabitable for extended periods, crippling urban centers, infrastructure, and natural ecosystems. The weapon's strategic value lies in its ability to act as a powerful deterrent by guaranteeing unacceptable levels of damage in retaliation to aggression. Despite its technological advancements and destructive potential, the practicality of the Poseidon has been questioned by military experts. One major criticism is its operational speed. While capable of traveling long distances underwater, Poseidon's journey to its target could take several days. This makes it significantly slower compared to modern missile systems, which can deliver nuclear payloads within minutes. In high-stakes conflicts where rapid response is critical, the Poseidon's slow deployment time reduces its effectiveness as a reliable strategic weapon. Another issue is its overlap with existing nuclear arsenals. Modern intercontinental ballistic missiles and submarine-launched ballistic missiles are already capable of delivering precise and devastating nuclear strikes. These systems are faster, more accurate, and easier to deploy in various scenarios. Additionally, missile-based systems are less complex and more cost-effective compared to the development and maintenance of a nuclear-powered torpedo like Poseidon. The geopolitical implications of Poseidon's development also raise questions about its future. As tensions between Russia and Western nations persist, the weapon's existence serves as a symbol of strategic aggression. However, in a potential post-Putin Russia, there could be efforts to reduce reliance on such extreme weapons to improve international relations. Abandoning or scaling back Poseidon and similar projects might be seen as a step toward de-escalation and normalization of diplomatic ties. However, its practical application in modern warfare is limited due to its slow deployment and redundancy alongside faster, more accurate missile systems. While it remains a formidable deterrent, its long-term role in Russia's military strategy is uncertain, particularly as global political dynamics shift and new priorities emerge. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.